Even as far back as spring, we saw maybe some work where you get two guys from your room on the field at the same time. You've obviously got kind of a variety of skill sets there. How much do you think maybe you've got the diversity in that room of traits and skills and attributes to be able to put two guys on the field and maybe even have two guys involved in some of the same concepts?
Well, I like to think all of our guys can play multiple positions. We don't really key them for one position or another. We try to have some one-back sets. We'll try to have some two-back sets. Our guys try to learn every position. I think that's key. That way they can play it if needed to go against our opponent. So I think they're all coming along in that. That's really a challenge for you to have to play in multiple positions, but it makes you a little bit more multiple. And so we're going to continue to test those guys to the limit, especially in the preseason, and then see if we can be effective with that.
Mike, on your right. You know, Jalen Lucas obviously had a tremendous true freshman season, but how far has his game advanced from where he was from like a year ago to now?
Well, I think the biggest thing from a year ago to where he's at is that he, when he played last year, he didn't come into about the fourth or fifth game, and then of course he had the kind of season that you like to have as more so as a returner than as a back. I think the early game jitters, like when he was a true freshman, early enrollee, that was a lot for him, and he plays like a second-year player, which I think he's understanding the game, the pace of the game, what he's got to do. He practices at a really high level. Football is very important to him. He works on his craft hard, and I think I like what I've seen so far, but I'm never in love with what I see so far. They know that there's always room to grow.
Is there something you challenge with him specifically?
Yeah, I just think that as a three-phase player, running the ball, catching the ball, and pass protection, I think those are the three phases. I put that on every back I've been on for all the years I've coached them. And don't be happy that you had such and such a year ago, because last year is over. No one cares. And so this year, I expect him to step up in all three phases, and he is attempting to do that, and he has made some very good strides.
Take Mason front row on the left.
Coach, obviously a big part of the run game is kind of the offensive line and their push up front. New offensive line coach and run game coordinator Bob Bossett. How has been working with him? What has that been like, and kind of how have you seen improvements on the offensive line?
Well, I think that Bob has a really good hold on the offensive line, both from the run game and the pass protection. He is, I'll just say, we have very similar backgrounds in a lot of ways, and so it's been really easy. He's very demanding for those guys. He's tough on his players, but he's going to get the best out of those guys, and I'm very much looking forward to see how our line is going to continue to grow this year. There's a lot of good things that they're doing, and I'm sure if he was speaking here, he'd say we still got a ways to go, as I would say too. But we have worked. Like I said, we have somewhat of a common history as far as the people that we've had in our backgrounds, and so our run game philosophy and pass protection philosophy are very much in sync.
We'll go Jack on the left and then Zach.
Yeah, I know you guys were excited about Jalen at this point last year, but now a year ahead, he obviously has more responsibilities, more expectations. Just how do you feel like you've seen him handle that side of it, just with having more responsibilities and expectations on?
Well, anytime that you have success as a young player, people are always going to try to see what's the next step for you, what he's going to do. And I just tell him, your burning desire is to play at the maximum of what you have. I'm saying whatever that is at this time, that's what you want to do. I want you to turn it loose. I don't want you to play afraid to make mistakes. With that being there, if he's in the backfield that plays for IU, he better take care of the ball. He better take care of the quarterback. And I'm not concerned too much about what he's going to do when he touches the ball, because there's a lot of good things there. But he's always wanting to challenge yourself to improve at all the time, always be on the rise. A lot of guys put it that way. You always want to be a player on the rise. And I think and believe right now that J. Lou is on that path.
We'll go Zach and then Jim.
He talked at Big Ten Media Day about studying some guys like him in the offseason. Guys are a little smaller, were explosive. You mentioned Anthony Thomas and Deuce Vaughn. You also mentioned Tavon Austin. What's the balance you want a guy like that to strike? Where I imagine he's moved around some in his career, but you would classify him in one position, but maybe you want him to diversify himself offensively to where you could play him, split out or, swing him out, that kind of thing. Just from a coach's perspective, what's the process of maybe letting him study a little bit of that and then trying to maybe implement and teach that?
Well, I just think that when you have, he's got obviously a diverse set of skills. And if he does that, we're going to push him. We're going to push him to see what he can do. I've had some backs like that I've been with before in the past that can both play in the backfield. They can motion out of the backfield. Obviously, they can do all the runs that they need to do within the backfield, and they can catch a couple passes down the field. I've been blessed to be around a couple of guys that have really mastered that. And so we're going to keep pushing him, realizing that the guys I'm thinking about are up in the next level. He's not there yet. So we got to make sure he's good in his core things, but keep on pushing him, because most guys want to have a challenge, and that's what we're going to try to put on him.
Jim, second row, your right.
Coach, I know the quarterback is an integral part of the running game, obviously. What difficulties or challenges does it present you when you have a quarterback race that may not be determined right up until the first game?
Well, if you were to ask my guys, what they would answer to you is, if you do the correct fundamentals and technique and you know your assignment, it shouldn't make a difference who's in there. If you want to, and I've told them this, regardless of the quarterback that's in there, if you want to see that position play at a pretty good level, why don't you do your job right and do it well, and that will help. That I put that with the running backs, but I'm sure most of our coaches on the offensive staff are going to say that. So they don't have to think they have to come win the game. You never want to put that on, any quarterback that's going to, with inexperience, and that's why we got to step up and do our job very well, without pressure, without being scared of making mistakes, but push it so that we can be a strong point for our team.
We'll sit here in the front left.
Christian Turner's a guy that came in with a lot of experience through his college career. Just how has that experience kind of shown through it and what he's bringing to the table right now? What do you feel like he can bring to the offense?
He has a very good voice, very good short area quickness, and good pass protector. He has shown a lot in his snaps. I'm very excited about what he's been doing. And like with everybody else, everybody's got stuff to work on. So what I try to do is get him to scratch where it itches. Bottom line, everybody's got something. I've yet to find that back. Even though I've been on the team with the MVP in the NFL, I've yet to find the back that is great in everything. So all backs have something to work on. He does too. But the greatest thing that he has done is he's a relentless studier of the game. And he is all in the details, and he is into football in a big way. And that's a good thing, besides, obviously, when it's school time and all that starts. But he's into football, and it's very serious to him.
We'll go Daniel, second row on the left.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, with Henderson returning, two guys contributed a lot to the team last year, and bringing Turner to some of his experience and show what he can do. How do you think about trying to get all three of them involved in the game, like whether it's just running back like mid-year, not even that, but just finding
Right.
ways to get things on the field?
Yeah, that's yet to be determined. We'll figure out who, how, where, when. We still have some time to get ready to go to our game. The bottom line is I have believed throughout my career that, there's going to be somebody stepping out there as a starter on game day. And if you are with the three guys you've mentioned or guys that have been behind them, you better be ready and prepared like a starter, because when you don't get do-overs. So I tell my guys all the time, knowing that, and some of my career probably more than I was a backup. They had to come in. You better be ready to go. Don't tell me I need to warm up. Don't tell me I need to get the feel of the game. You're talking to the wrong coach. So for them and for some of the other guys that we have had, the bottom line is go out there. Don't try to make highlight plays. That's what gets you into a lot of trouble. Just do what you do and do it well and do it consistently. Be a physical ball player that can, give us tough runs, the explosive runs will come. Pass protection, block your guy, catch the ball, do those kind of things, and it will all weed itself out. So I tell all those guys, you better think like a starter, whether you're the first person on that field or not. You better practice, study, and prepare like you are starting, because you only get one chance to go on there and impress our head coach. That's the key.
Mike on the right.
Do you have any takeaways from the scrimmage on Saturday in terms of your guys? I know Christian wasn't able to go, but what was your kind of takeaways from?
I thought we were very sluggish. I thought our room was. We have played at a pretty high level throughout a lot of the preseason. I didn't see a lot of that, and so I let them know. One thing about me, I'm blunt. I tell it like it is, and if they are playing at a high level, I let them know. I'll praise them. If they don't, I'm going to tell them it's not acceptable. That's how it is. I'm not there to be their friend. So they were not very happy when they walked out of that meeting for a practice, and that's probably the only time I've had to really get after them. They responded today. That's what I look for.
The last one to Pete, top right corner.
Coach over here. Just your thoughts on Henderson. What do you need from him? What do you expect from him?
I have high expectation for him because he played well. He played quite a bit more in the second half of the season last year. When he played, he played pretty well in all three phases, and he needs me to push him to where he can go. And so I have very high expectations for him. But again, I don't want guys out there, when I keep saying I have high expectations, you cannot be scared, and I don't want you to press. That's what gets backs in trouble, because they try to go make home runs and then negative plays come. So just go do what you do and do it well, and trust your preparation and trust your fundamentals and play hard for as long as you can. And I will be able to tell when they need to blow, and then we'll get them out. And then when they go back in, I expect more of the same. It's nameless, faceless, regardless of position. That's what my standards are. And if you want to get in Coach Johnson's doghouse, go out there and act like you don't know what you're doing. That will not make me very happy.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.